Okay, so I chose to go over or teach the command center or the central nervous system, or as we know it, called the brain. And I want to go over the each lobes that we have in our brain. So we have four lobes, as you can see in this picture right here, and each of these lobes performs a specific set of functions. So I'm going to start off with the frontal lobe. So the frontal lobe, this lobe is tasked with decision making and movement. The prefrontal cortex, uh, which is also located in the frontal lobe, uh, receives input from across the cerebral cortex, which is also found in the frontal lobe, and helps us decide when and why and how we do things. So the second lobe that I want to go over is the parietal lobe, I think is how you say it. So this lobe is considered an association lobe, meaning that it integrates sensory information from across the brain. So it houses the primary sensory processing area for touch, but receives information about what we are seeing from the visual cortex, which is found in the optical lobe, and we'll get there in a second. This helps us orient ourselves in our environment. So damage to this region, the parietal lobe, I think is how you say it, with our ability to pay attention to objects and locations in space. Now the temporal lobe. The temporal lobe assists with tasks of forming memories and processing sound. So since it processes sound, it has to house the auditory cortex, which is the primary sensory processing area for hearing in the temporal lobe. Now, the last lobe, the optical lobe, it houses the visual cortex, as I said earlier. It is the primary sensory processing area for visual information or light. So this region is also referred to as the straight or the striate cortex, I think is how you say it, or the striped cortex, because it has columns of neurons that are organized to process very specific visual information. So these columns and stripes in the optical lobe, these columns form stripes when viewed anatomically. So yeah, that's all. That's all the lobes. Thank you.